Roger Stone came in today and began by telling the court, quote, "I'm hurtfully sorry for my own stupidity. It was a momentary lapse of judgment to post a picture which was seen as a threat to this judge." And then Stone said, "I'm having a hard time putting food on the table and making rent." That very well may be true, and many defendants make those kind of arguments in court, but not usually to try to mitigate a potential threat to the federal judge overseeing their case, because hardship does not explain that kind of conduct at all. And this judge, let me show you what happened. She didn't buy it. In fact, she told the court and Mr. Stone if he really felt bad, if he knew he'd made a mistake, then why did he continue, quote, "for the next 2 days to talk about how you're being treated unfairly? How is that consistent with what you're telling me now?" She pressed him. And Stone then responded saying, "Well, I didn't have malicious intent." Let's stop right there. That's a key inflection point. Stone claiming he did not intend to actually threaten the judge, which could be true. But the judge rebukes him for the obvious problem with that argument in a world full of people who could be moved or incited by Stone. So the judge says here today, "Do you understand it could have a malicious impact?" And Stone replies, "Well, that's what I'm saying." So he's sorry about the impact that he says he didn't mean to ever risk causing. Stone also cagey in these dramatic proceedings about how that picture, which was seen as a threat to the judge, was online at all. Because this is also new. A Mueller prosecutor grilling him in court for the first time and saying, okay, quote, "Who published this photo?" And Stone admits, quote, "I did." And the judge asks, "Did you not just tell me under oath that someone else posted the photo?" And Stone then says, well, quote, "I didn't choose the image, I posted it." And then he wouldn't say who did pick it, and the judge went in hard, saying, "An individual who you cannot identify selected a photo that you posted." And then Stone says, "Yes, other people use my phone." And when pressed on how many volunteers or other people he has, Stone then says, "About 5 or 6 people." But he wouldn't say in these hearings today who they were. Mueller prosecutor then gets in and says, quote, "You can't remember the people who worked for you 4 days ago?" And Stone says simply, "No." Quite a performance. This is the reality part. Stone was doing the reality show part. We're in the reality part today. And the judge said that reality was a problem. Let me show you exactly what she said. Quote, "These were deliberate choices. I don't find any explanations credible. He couldn't keep his story straight on the stand." That's a polite reference to potential perjury. And then the judge rules, "I find that released under conditions without modification, he does pose a danger, that Stone can no longer speak publicly about the case or the participants, no statements, radio, TV, reporters, blogs, letters to the editor." And then this is key. She warns Roger Stone late today, "Today, I gave you a second chance. This is not baseball. You don't get a third chance." This was another procedural victory for Bob Mueller. And the translation of that last line is quite clear. The next time Roger Stone tries anything like this, any further enforcement of his gag order will be put on him while he's in jail. I want to begin tonight with former Watergate Special Prosecutor Nick Ackerman, who actually interviewed Roger Stone in the Watergate case at one point, and Wall Street Journal reporter Shelby Holliday, who's covered the Russia probe and a lot of the dealings around Roger Stone, including talking to the people who are now his alleged victims in the tampering. Nick Ackerman, what went down in that courtroom?
What went down in that courtroom was a very serious matter. You had Roger Stone lying right to the face of a federal judge, lying on very material items like who posted the photo, why he posted the photo. I mean, this is an extremely serious matter.
When you hear a federal judge who's not a Mueller prosecutor, but a federal judge say to him and say to the court, he can't keep his story straight today, is she implying that he could commit a new crime in that courtroom?
She's saying he's lying. It's simple. He lied. That's what she's saying. He couldn't keep his story straight. When you can't keep your story straight, you're lying. Secondly, this is extremely serious. I mean, the idea that he could be inciting other people to commit violence against a federal judge is a very real threat. We've had a history in this country with several federal judges who have been killed because of people who had a grudge or felt that they didn't get a fair shake or felt somebody didn't get a fair shake. This is a serious matter. Secondly, what he's trying to do is influence the jury. This is exactly the same thing his buddy Donald Trump has been doing for the last couple of years. And he's been doing it with some success. I mean, if you look at what happened in Virginia in the Paul Manafort trial, you actually had one juror who hung on certain of the counts that were brought against Manafort. And this was all done right in the same week that Manafort's trial was going on. Donald Trump was saying the whole thing was a witch hunt. Paul Manafort's a great guy. And what does this juror say? It's a witch hunt. That's why he didn't vote for conviction on certain of those counts.
Was this bad and embarrassing for Roger Stone today, or was it also, in your view, progress for Mueller?
It's both. It's progress for Mueller because he's basically put Roger Stone in his place. And it's bad news for Roger Stone because, in a way, this is like baseball. The third strike, and he's off to the slammer.
Before I get to Shelby on the reporting side, one more legal piece for you, which was very interesting. We always report every side of the case. But sometimes people don't like that, and I always explain to people, it's not about what you like. If you want to understand where a court case is going, you have to look at both sides. But tonight, what I'm about to read sounds like something from Mueller, but it's actually the Roger Stone side. That what he did was, quote, indefensible. That's not the prosecutor's demanding the gag order. That was the best, quote, unquote, defense his folks could come up with. Take a look. Again, I want viewers to understand exactly what went down. Judge, why won't this happen in the future? Fair question, if this is a problem. Stone's own lawyer. Sometimes a person learns a lesson, especially when a person's unrestrained in his speaking. It's indefensible. I agree. I'm going to repeat that. It's indefensible, Nick. Then, let me read Judge Jackson, quote, I agree with you there. What does it tell you legally when his side is not saying this is explainable, this was possibly misunderstood, but just it's indefensible?
He just has to fall on the mercy of the court. I mean, he has absolutely zero defense. In fact, the fact that he lied on two key elements here, that the judge didn't put him in jail, I think he's extremely lucky. He's the only...
And that goes to the big question. Why didn't the judge just put him in jail today?
I think what happened was that her last gag order was a very limited order. It only prohibited him from making statements outside the courthouse. If she had put into place at the time a full gag order, he would have gone directly to jail. Do not stop, go. Do not collect $200.
That's interesting. And this is something people forget. You're speaking about the why the details matter. They may not matter to some of the people on the outside, but you're saying that because the judge tried to strike a balance, and we covered the balancing interest on this show, that it was narrower. And so because it was narrower, this is his last strike, as she put it. A very interesting analysis.